Hello. I really had no idea I was going to make a video today, but something kept coming to me, a topic that I often get confused by and I'm resistant and I don't let the information in with a very smooth flow, and that's time. When time comes up, I'm always very interested in what my non-physical friends have to say, but I don't, because it bends and twists my brain so much. I don't have the sense that I'm letting it through very smoothly, where I feel I can let information about what love is and how we're all love and how everything is love. I feel like I have a handle on that and that I can understand it and invite it into my daily experience. But when I begin to hear things about time, which I was hearing again today, and I've heard, boy, has it been for months or years? I don't know. But it's in a way I haven't talked about it yet because I couldn't really wrap my mind around it. But now it seems like, how do I explain this one? Um, we're not supposed to wrap our minds around things, or what is in this moment just comes through. It's like, we don't have as many conceptual hoops that we have to jump through to just let information come to us and through us. I'm saying we because I feel like we're all going through this together. So before I get into time, I just also want to acknowledge, whoa, the energies are intense and things that are coming up for us can feel so deep. Um, I found myself on my kitchen floor shivering and sobbing today, and I had to explain that one to my kids, which I did to the best of my ability. So things that you have carried around, or things that I have carried around with me as part of my identity, as the insecure part of my identity that I would want to hide. I'd want to blame somebody or something consistently for things wrong in the world in order to cover up the pain I was hiding of the separate, cut off, vulnerable identity, one who had been victimized, one who didn't get enough of this or that. All of that comes up if you haven't dealt with it. And sometimes when we see people talking about we value positive thinking, right? So we don't want to talk about the on your knees sobbing moments, but I do want to acknowledge them and say, yes, I sob and I shudder and I use tissues, and and it's not all love everywhere. It's because I allow myself to feel that pain, to understand and be taught where it came from and how I attached to a separate and vulnerable identity, and how I get walked through releasing every layer of that, the deeper and deeper layers. It's because I go through that, that I'm able to understand how it works. That's not to say that you have to have a very painful awakening. I don't know. Maybe some people came into this incarnation and sustained a light enough outlook that they don't go through the same things. But if you are going through some very powerful emotions, it's for you. It's for your good. It's for everybody's good, and to just let them come, process them. If you get caught up in the anguish and in the intensity and you feel you can't find your way out, you will. It just might take a little while, but to let it come and to let yourself feel is the important thing. Just the bravery to let yourself feel, let yourself cry, let all those ideas come up about who you think you are, how you think you might be victimized, how you think you might not be enough. Let all that come up, because every place we've been blaming somebody or something for anything at all, there's been a very sad or angry thought about ourselves that we've been kind of sitting on and stuffing down. So if we let them come up, we can function better, more smoothly through our days. Okay, but the reason I wanted to talk is to see if, in the process of making a video, which is different for me than writing, if more information about time would come through. Because the idea about time that kept kind of, I call it the ball peen hammer, if something kind of hammers on my head, and wants to be talked about, it feels like after a while, well, there isn't a choice. I better express it in writing, or I better make a video. So the thing about time seems to be that as we make a practice or remember ourselves as love, and then quite naturally we see the loving aspects of everybody around us, the loving aspect of every situation we're in, the opportunity to express love in every situation we're in. As that becomes more and more a part of our experience and a part of our knowledge of ourselves, we become aware of, where do I start with this? Let's just say feeling the edges of people's personalities. If you're in and that includes the edge of your perceived personality. If you're in a public space, if you're stopped at a traffic light, you can feel the energy of people around you. But part of what you're feeling is your own caution and fear and trepidation and fear of people, fear of their possible effect on you. So when we're feeling that tension come up, we can kind of burrow into it as the bullets of light we are, and relax within that. I find it helpful to remember a mantra when I start to feel that tension. It could be anything that seems universal and true to you. I am love, I am light, we are one, I bless you, whatever makes sense to you, doesn't seem condescending, whatever feels good and solid and true to you. A mantra can help you relax right where you are, which is at the intersection of all personalities, because it's not like you are actually separate from that other guy. You're not, you're joined. And when you're feeling the separate and conflicting parts of your apparently separate selves, you're not engaged in reality. But when you go down deeper to the shared part of yourself, where you can go, if you just burrow into that tension between personalities and relax there and allow the lines to blur, then you are more settled in reality, and you're in a position where you can share healing. You don't even have to look at that person next to you at the traffic light, although you can feel them, and you can share healing. And anywhere you go and you feel tension like that, you can share healing just by relaxing down through, underneath any assumptions, judgments, fears that come up. You can affect the energy that's all around you. More and more of us are learning this, and more of us are going to learn this, and it's going to become easier to be with one another. If you're very sensitive and you're having a hard time being around people, I understand completely. And it's not because there's anything wrong with you or with them. It's because I'm getting to time here in a minute. It's because, give me some time to get to time. It's because you're going to learn how to feel into the apparently separate personalities, feel in below those to where you're joined, relax and be at peace there, and share that peace with everybody. That's what's happening. So in the time when you feel uncertain around other people, maybe you've been very social and you're not, it's okay. You're just transitioning into a different mode of function. You're not going to be as playful with your ego, or trying to dominate, or trying to what do I want to say? Trying to dominate or assert a separate self of yours, or a separate image of your perceived separate self in a conversation. It's going to be very different now. You're going to be there sharing energy and pretty much blessing everyone and everything everywhere you go. I've always found that word blessing to be a little condescending, I guess, because of the way it's my old judgments kicking up, because of the way in the past I've heard other people say it. So if you also have an allergy to that word, I'm healing from it. It's still a good word. It just means you share the peace that you are, and you recognize the peace that is present in everyone and everything. Okay, so here's where time comes in. My sense is that as we're doing this, we are healing across time and space. So what was suggested to me, this is the part that's hard for me. What was suggested to me is that, what do I say? History's going to disappear. That's what it feels like. So if anybody has information about this that explains what I'm getting, I would appreciate that. as we heal across time and space and forgive everything, all the pain and suffering is forgotten. And so, as part of our preparation for this healing and this vast transformation on a level I know I can't comprehend yet, at my level, I'm just getting glimmers of it. Um, it is good to not insist on things being a certain way in terms of what history was. Like, for example, maybe you'd wake up tomorrow and history is very, very different than you thought it was because some healing has gone on, and it's not like we'd even notice, I think. How would you know if you wake up tomorrow? And I'm using the example of like sleep being the reset, but that's just a very simplistic example for us. Usually the examples I'm given are like kindergarten level concepts to help us understand. They're not exact, but they help us understand. Okay, so like the timeline can change in an instant. Sometimes people feel they know because they carry knowledge of somewhere else with them. But just as often, we don't know. And as we release our insistence on carrying the past with us, or on carrying history with us, or on carrying suffering with us, the words that popped into my head are history will erase itself. Bear in mind, I do not know what I'm talking about. But if you receive information like this at all, when you're being told something, and when it feels solid, and when it's like it's your own mind that's resisting it, can't quite get it yet. So there's where I am with it. Just the idea that in a very soothing way, healing expands across time and space, and we keep jumping timelines, and timelines collapse, and the image I'm shown is everything merging into one unified whole. That's all I got in terms of time. So if anybody can add to my current level of understanding, I would appreciate that, especially the part about history erasing itself. Because the human part of us, it's like we don't want to lose our memories, but there comes a time when you don't need them. You don't. This is way beyond what the 3D part of me can understand. You don't need them because you're always in the now and appreciating and enjoying and expanding from the now in an eternal now. And the way we hold on to past and future right now is, it's just the words I heard was what the little dollies do down here. So okay, that could be disturbing because we're currently where we are. We don't want to be a little dolly. But if you think of it in that terms, like it's a very basic and elementary thing we do to hang on to the past and to worry about or try to project a better future, when all is secure and just springing beautifully and joyously from the now. Always, it's like this beautiful golden fountain that's always been running without ceasing. Only we decided, let's go over here away from this eternal golden fountain and have this experience of separation and conflict and misery and war. Let's do that. So in this experience of separation and conflict and misery, let's have happiness, but let's have happiness be counterbalanced by sadness. So the happiness won't be true happiness. It'll be happiness that could be snatched away from you at any moment. And don't forget about death. This whole thing's going to end in death, even though the reality of it is we cannot die. The body seems to die. The body comes and goes. But what we are cannot die. So we got ourselves over way on the side from this golden fountain, the eternal now, and all the joy that always springs from it in this experience of duality. And so when we come back into the one experience of joy and the one experience of now and the one experience of love, that is when our need for history in the future erases itself, and all the hurts and woes of everything we think we've experienced, everything we think people before us have experienced, that all goes away. It's not, it's like a dream. It's like a dream. Well, this is a dream, right? So to us, on the other side of it, it really is recognizable as a dream. It does not feel real in the sense it feels real right now. Um, I wanted to share that with you because, well, talking deepens my understanding. And also, every time I'm in this energy where I'm tuning into the level of love and peace and recognizing that in myself and everybody around me, I'm very frequently reminded that this healing is not just at this traffic intersection or in this park. It's expanding, it's extending across time and space, and it's no small thing to tune into this frequency and to stay in this frequency. Um, so let us do that. Let us tune in and abide there as much as we can. And if you have any information for me about time, let me know because my brain is still a little bit confused. Thanks.